Okay, so what is the role of a paraprofessional? And again, these specifications, descriptions may differ by your school district. So I showed you the contract language from my school district just to give you an idea of what that may look like. Feel free to research your school district's contract language in regards to paraprofessionals. It would be enlightening to know, and it may develop some questions for you in the future. So, the paraprofessional's role can differ through different classrooms, and that is dependent on the population of students and their needs. In terms of a self contained class, those are typically smaller, so a paraprofessional that is with a specific teacher all day and with a specific group of students all day um, will probably have broader roles to play in the classroom. They might do some small group instruction. They might be there to monitor and deal with behavior, emotions, things like that. And then you have on the other side paraprofessionals being in a general education classroom that is an inclusive environment. A lot of the times we see paraprofessionals placed in gen ed rooms that have students with IEPs to reiterate concepts, assist a small group of students, things of that nature. So, some major issues within the paraprofessional's role, and I have a few listed here. So, the first one is they just don't get it. I'm going to be completely honest in saying that sometimes paraprofessionals just don't get what you're asking them to do. Um, I don't really have a perfect solution of how to deal with this, and I think that this issue goes back to the beginning of the presentation when I discussed the fact that they have no background at the college level in education. Another issue is they just want to assist you. They don't want to work with students. I know that you might be sitting there saying, why would anyone ever want to be a teacher's aide and not want to work with kids? Sadly enough, it happens far more often than we would all like to think as teachers. So it is important that you establish with your paraprofessional that they are there to also work with students. They are not just your assistant to make copies or run errands or things of that nature. Paraprofessionals should be there, in my opinion, to assist you and to assist the students. Now, I'm not saying that a paraprofessional should never go make copies or something along those lines, but their main role should not just be your helper, if you will. Okay, the next one. They don't want to learn. We are all teachers. We are lifelong learners. We try to establish the importance of being a lifelong learner. You will have paraprofessionals, perhaps, I hope not, that just don't want to learn. They don't want to learn strategies. They don't want to assist in helping you implement new ideas in your classroom that you have for like groups or something like that. They might not want to learn how to track data or fill out an ABC chart or implement de-escalation, strategies with a student or things along those lines. A paraprofessional should want to continue to learn. They should not just feel that I'm going to come to work for 7.5 hours and then I'm going to go home. Education, as we know, is an ever-changing area, and everyone involved in education should be lifelong learners. So the next one, they don't want to collaborate. I kind of touched on this earlier. How are we going to deal with that? your paraprofessional and you might have 10 minutes before school with the student, before the students get there, excuse me. So when are you going to collaborate? And then even further, what are you going to do if they just don't want to? And then here we go, the big red flashing light. They want to be the teacher. Now, if you have a paraprofessional that you're working with and they are pursuing their teaching license or their bachelor's in education or something like that, you might find that they want to be the teacher. The best advice that I can give you is your paraprofessional is not a licensed teacher. In a very few rare occasions, they might be. I know of some teachers who have retired from teaching after, 25 years, and they still, want to work in schools and with kids, and they go on to be TAs. Rare, but it does happen. So that is definitely an issue. The paraprofessional is not the teacher. And in one of the articles that I'm going to have you read this week, that is a big issue that is discussed in the article. So think about these issues. If you have a paraprofessional, think about some ways to deal with them. And hopefully, if you do have a paraprofessional or you will have one in the future, that you guys will have a very positive and collaborative mutual respect relationship.